It's as American as hot apple pie and, surprisingly enough, as European as the cold Baltic Sea, regardless of the season really. And this is because this Ford Mustang has something very interesting under the bonnet. Let's take it for a spin. It does that with ESP on. And it sounds good too, doesn't it? And this is the 2.3 liter EcoBoost, not the V8 sound. Yeah, okay, so there is some sort of a sound symposer. The sound is fed into the cabin through speakers. Yeah, it's an inline 4-cylinder engine. But it does make a good impression, and with over 300 horsepower, it's more than enough for European roads, or so you'd think. Now, this is also a manual version, and with the manual, you get this nice click when shifting, as if this was a gated gearbox. It's not a gated gearbox, but it does sound nice. So there's a lot of involvement driving this car. It feels American. It feels big. It is big, let's face it. I've got like 2 miles of a bonnet in front of me, and when driving it on the motorway, the bonnet it moves a bit like this. So I'm not really sure whether it's supposed to do that, but it does that. It's actually quite surprising because the aerodynamics of this car, the bonnet is kind of bent like that in the front, so it's for aerodynamic purposes, so it's not supposed to go up. Let's talk about how this thing drives. It drives like an American car, like a big muscle car. The sound, it's spot on. I picked the 2.3 EcoBoost engine, the 4-cylinder engine, because I wanted to see whether you could buy this sort of American legend and cheat a little bit on European roads. And I think you can. It will do about 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers if you care, but if you buy the 2.3 liter EcoBoost engine, you obviously care. So yeah, it will do that. The suspension is stiff enough to make it engaging to drive, but soft enough to absorb the bumps nicely. And trust me, the roads I'm on today are terrible. If you see the camera shaking, it's because the roads are really, really bad. It's good enough for European roads. The steering is nice and heavy. That's in sports mode. There are a couple of modes here. There is a sports mode, comfort mode, and normal mode, whatever these are. The normal and comfort. Don't bother with them. You want it to be in sport mode. You want to feel the weight of the steering, and it's good. It's engaging. It's fun. There are also a couple of driving modes. There is, let's see, we've got normal, we've got sport plus, no sport, sport plus straight away. We've got track, and we've got snow and wet. When I put it in snow and wet, even if I don't move the gas pedal, I can feel that there is slightly less power, and the car slows down a bit. So let's switch that off. Let's put it back into normal, or yeah, I'm on a public road, so I'm not supposed to drive in track. Right. These are the mode buttons here, and most of the time you'll be driving in normal mode and perhaps sporty steering. How is it to drive? How's the steering? The steering is nicely weighted, especially in this sport mode, and it's also very direct, very precise. You need small inputs to place this car somewhere on the road or on the track, so that's very good. I'm not entirely sure about the turbocharged engine in a track situation. This is theoretically a twin-scroll turbocharger, but the car can be a bit snappy. But then on the other hand, I had only a couple of days with it. The cockpit is a very nice place to be, at least at first glance. Ford claims that they've done a lot to make it look like an airplane cockpit. they sought inspiration in the aviation industry. So we have this aluminium. This is real aluminium, not some sort of plasticky aluminium carbon-like thing. This is real aluminium. I like the switchgear here on the center console, even though from the usability perspective it's not very good, because these switches here, you don't press them, you have to lift them, which is okay for ESP, for steering, for driving mode, but it's not okay for your hazard lights. And there is a place to put your mobile phone. That's very good. There are a couple of cup holders, which is also very good. There are classic dials, and again, the font on the dials resembles that from an airplane. On the Speedo, it says ground speed, which is which is really cool, as if you were about to take off and look for your airspeed and ground speed. So that's very cool. Apparently, this steering wheel is smaller than what? Doesn't look very small to me, but it's nice to hold, and I like the fact that it's rather thin, so it resembles that in older cars. What I don't like is the fact that Ford kept some of the switchgear from a Mondeo, from a Focus, like these stalks here for the wipers and for the indicators, and the light switch is also from an ordinary Focus. Like they couldn't spend a couple of $100,000 more and I don't know, get some bespoke switchgear here. I mean, it would be really nice. The Sat-Nav. The Sat-Nav is not very good. This is a Sync 2 system, and it's well, I've complained about this in the Ford Mondeo and Ford Focus review, but you do want Sat-Nav these days. You want to have your Sat-Nav, you want to have your Bluetooth and such, so it's not too expensive. You might just as well get that. Would I buy a 2.3 EcoBoost over the V8? Well, the fuel consumption figures speak for themselves, really. I mean, we're talking 8 liters per 100 kilometers in the combined cycle for the EcoBoost, and something like 12 or 13 for the V8. But then I wonder, if you're buying a Legend, don't you want to go all the way? I don't know. I guess I'll have to drive this for a bit longer, and maybe then I can make up my mind. Right? Right.
A couple of remarks regarding practicality. You can put 2 kids in the back, but not necessarily 2 adults. The boot capacity is over 400 liters, which is more than enough for a weekend of filming away from home. And now I'll just shut up, as I don't feel qualified to dub pornography. After some consideration, I think one should buy the EcoBoost only if one wants the Mustang looks. But if you want the real deal, get the V8.
I like the new Ford Mustang, whether it's with the legendary American V8 or with the sensible European 2.3 inline 4-cylinder engine. They're both great fun, and I can't stop smiling when I'm driving it, and I will still be driving it home about 4 or 5 hours, so yeah. Let me know in the comments below whether you would choose a V8 or an inline 4-cylinder engine. Let me know what you think. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, rate and share my videos. New episodes every Friday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Now I gotta go back home. Oh, in a Mustang.